The purpose of this screencast is to guide you through work, particularly across weeks 3 and 4, but it's going to cover work that you can complete anytime across the next 4 weeks, weeks 3 to 6. Again, with applied learning, you'll be able to look at the tasks that need to be done across the window of time and do them in the order that works best for you and, in this case, your team. So we're going to cover a range of things here. The instructions, both written and where appropriate video instructions, are available to you, but this is the overall guide for what's coming up. So it is a step-by-step guide to the specific planning, the specific budgeting, and how we build connection with our community. So our learning intention initially is to learn to apply our strengths and passions to our work and learning about teamwork, communication, critical and creative thinking. Because in order to be successful, we need to identify what you bring to your team and how your interests can help drive your work. You can also identify what makes a team work well, communicate effectively, and how problems get resolved. So the two big goals: plan the event so that you can actually start actioning things and make the thing happen, and reach the community. So we need to engage with our community, have them involved in our project, not just to attend the day, but also to help drive the day with stalls selling things, or information from wellbeing providers, or permits and permission from council. There's a range of things we need to think about in terms of communicating and reaching our community. So these are the two big goals that happen across the next 4 weeks. So again, you are the boss over that 80 hours. So the reminder, you can move between the planning phase and connecting with community, the drift. So you can move in and out, drifting between the two different categories of work, making sure you're always working on something, making sure you're communicating with your team so they know what's going on, making sure you're communicating with your teachers so they know what's going on, but make sure you meet your deadlines. So the first thing that you will actually need to do is brainstorm what teams we need. Right. So as a class, we're going to start that particular thing together. So the whole class is going to work together initially to identify what teams do we need. So we might need a marketing team that's actually going to get the word out there. We need a finance team who are going to they're going to do all the maths. They're going to help us with our budgets. We will still have budgets in our other teams, but they're the keepers of the big budget. Our logistics people. So they're going to make sure we've got equipment. They're going to make sure we map out our car boot sale, that we've got enough space. They're going to make sure that it's safe. They're going to do risk assessments. If you have a passion for food and you love cooking, you might want to get involved in booking caterers, but also helping catering the event yourself. So you'll join the catering team. We might have a lot of young kids come to our event. So we're going to have games, activities, some fun stuff for people to do. The booking team, admin. So people who are booking stalls need to know who to speak to. Where is their stall? How much do they pay to book a stall? Who's going to organise the wellbeing agency? So that's our admin team. There may be other teams that you want to include in there. So brainstorm them. Yeah, these ones are probably going to be needed, but what else might we need and how are we going to set those teams up? The goal is you pick something you care about, that is a strength of yours, that is a passion of yours, and you work in that team. We also want to be able to build further on your passions and your strengths. So you need to pick one of the mandatory teams, one of the teams that needs to be running so that our event can run. But then adding to that, you can work on a passion project, and we want you to pick something that you really do care about so that you enjoy this work that we're doing. So if you take together the mandatory team plus your passion project, creates the perfect job. So one example down the bottom there, you might be on the finance team because you're good at maths and you like working with money. So that's great. So you do that because that's the mandatory team. But then you also set up a cake stall for the car boot sale because you love baking. So you get to do some baking, you get to sell some stuff. So that might be how you combine your passion together with the work that needs to happen. Or another example, you could be on the marketing team because you love graphic design and art and you're going to design the posters and the social media posts and you want to get into that sort of thing. So you might be on the marketing team, but you also may be a really avid reader and you love books, but you've got a whole bunch of books that maybe you want to offload and sell secondhand. So you operate a bookstore. Maybe you like building stuff. So maybe you want to build wooden toys. You want to sell that at the car boot sale. So your goal is to think about which team you will be part of, that's mandatory, but then tie that in with something that you love doing as well and make the most of this project for you. Your next step is to create a task list as a team. Okay, so in the written instructions, there's a bit of a template there to guide you through. How you do it is up to you. You may use a Gantt chart like we did in week one. You might use a table that's similar to this. But what are the various tasks your team needs to do? So once you're in your team, this one would be with respect to marketing. So you might design a poster. Who's doing it? Sarah and John, whoever they might be. And when is it due? By Friday. That way we create a list of things that need to be done. Ideally make it big so that you can stick it up on a wall and people can refer to it and the team can keep going back and going, right, that's what needs to be next. Or I can see you should be up to this. Do you need a hand? That kind of stuff. And you can keep working on the individual tasks within your team so that the whole team is moving forward and everybody knows what everybody's doing within the team. So you need to make the task list, make it big, stick it on the wall, make sure that the workload is shared amongst all the team. This one in the instructions, it points out the fact that you will be making a combined class timeline so that all of the class knows what's going on in the individual teams. So at some point, you will have to decide, as the various teams, you're going to all come together into one big meeting, and you're going to map out your timeline as an entire class. So each of the individual teams, the marketers, the caterers, the logistics team, all the other teams, finance, etc., you're all going to come together and you're going to let each other know what your plans are and your times that you are working to, so that everybody knows what's going on. So even if I'm not in the finance team, I should know what's going on with budgets. Even if I'm not in catering, I should know what's being booked and what's going on, because there are going to be things that happen in one team that might affect another team. So the more that we know about what's going on, the better. You're not going to be told when to do this. You will need to organize this. As event managers, you are going to find the way to make it work. So why? We want every team's plan to come together. We are all working to the same deadline, which is when is the event being held. And once this is created, it all gets submitted. With your budgeting in your teams as well. So step 4, you'll need to make specific budgets and make sure that you have the funding that you need and you've accounted for income as well as expenditure. So as it says there on the left, guessing is no longer an option. Estimates are no longer an option. I think a poster is $5. Don't think, find out. If you're going to get them printed professionally, okay, that's fine. But you will be able to ring the company that's going to print them and actually get a cost for how much it's going to cost, how many posters and how much for each poster, and then you'll know. Same deal for catering. You're booking caterers. Okay, what is the cost? Exactly. Not estimated, because if you don't budget now, you might run out of money. So you'll actually need to make some phone calls, or you may need to write some emails. You will need to reach out to people and actually ask them to quote you, get the exact price. When it comes to, for example, planning, if you're on the logistics team and you're helping to book the people who want to have a car boot stall, how much are we charging for those stalls? How do you know how much to charge? Maybe reach out to other people who've run a similar event and find out what they charged. How many stalls do you plan to have? How many do you think you'll be able to sell? How much income are you going to get? We will need to know exactly. So this is actually quite a big body of work, and the sooner you start on it, probably the better, because you don't want to run out of money. It's really important. So in weeks 3 and 4, that's what we're aiming to do. We're actually doing things, getting stuff done, getting budgets locked in, getting stuff made if we're making posters, getting car boot stalls booked, getting it to happen. That may roll into week 5 and 6 as well, and that's okay. The flip side of that is the focus for week 5 and 6 is connecting with our community. But as with everything in the Applied Learning Project, you might start some of these things in week 3 and 4, and that's okay. You'll go backwards and forwards between the various tasks. As long as you stay organized and stay on track, you decide what happens when. You are in charge of your time management. But this focus is more for week 5 and 6 of your project, just keeping in mind you've got that flexibility. So what do we mean by connecting with the community? Well, first we need to understand who are our various stakeholders. Local council, do we need permits to run this event? Do they have grants that they could possibly give us to help pay for the event? What do we need to be aware of and how do we find out? Well, you have to contact them. Someone has to do that. We may want local businesses to come and set up a stall like a community market at the car boot sale. So they may have an opportunity to have some specific products. They would love the opportunity to come and use our event to sell it to the community. But how will they know and how will we know if we don't ask? So you ring them or you go see them or you write them an email. Same with the mental health providers. We want this to be a well-being focused event. So we would love to have people like Headspace, for example, might come and set up a stall to communicate stuff about their services and about youth mental health to the broader community. And obviously we need to make sure we're communicating with our stall holders. Otherwise we won't have any stalls at our car boot sale. So phase 2 is about connecting with our community. So you will be building draft emails or written letters. On the website, there's a couple of YouTube videos that actually give you an idea of how to prepare and plan for a professional phone call, how to write a professional email. It is best, unless you feel really confident, to have a bit of a script. You don't have to sit and read it, but practice what you need to say and how you want to say it to someone if you're going to call them, so that when they answer the phone, you're not umming, you're not ahhing, you're not getting lost in the conversation. You actually are straight to the point because these people will be busy. They don't want to waste too much time while you try and find your feet. So go in prepared. So part of what you're doing in week 5 and 6 is preparing scripts. Same if you're sending an email. It's got to be professional. Capital letters, punctuation, and properly written with a structure. Again, there's information on the website and in your instruction booklets to guide you through what you need to do there. But think about that structure. Don't just jot together like a text message. That is not professional and it won't get a positive response. And ideally, there'll be some grants that we can apply for. Now, if you're doing grants, I'd suggest that the teachers will help you with that because writing a grant application is actually pretty tricky. And I'd say most teachers haven't done it, to be honest. So it's something that we can work on together. However, we would love for you guys to take the lead on that. There are grants available for events like this. And we do have some information about some that we can apply for. So that's worth thinking about. So when we're saying connecting with the community, connect with council, connect with business, connect with our stall holders, and connect with the community as a whole. But how do you do it? Professionally, in person, by email or letter, in writing, or by phone. But be prepared. So you've got time to prepare it. Make sure you don't rush it. Make sure you do it right. So the drift, we talked about the fact that you can drift between stuff that's kind of for week 3 and 4 and kind of week 5 and 6. So this is an example of that. It's not a great example. I don't think you're going to spend all day of Monday just doing your budget because that is a long time if you're going to spend 5 hours just doing your budget. But let's just pretend. You're going to do 5 hours on Monday doing your budget. That's a week 3, 4 task. But then on Tuesday, you're going to reach out to a bakery to invite them to come along and sell baked goods at our car boot sale. So you need to draft the email and ideally send it. Again, you're not going to spend 5 hours on that, I wouldn't have thought. But that's a week 5, 6 task. So what this is showing you is on Monday, you might do week 3 and 4 work. Then Tuesday, you might do some week 5, 6 work. Then you'll go back on Wednesday and do the week 3, 4 work, etc. You get the idea. You're in charge. Time management is up to you, but you need to make sure you get everything done. And all of these things need to keep happening because you will run out of time before the event. We'll have an event with no one there. So make sure that you're working on all of these tasks simultaneously and using your 20 hours per week the best that you can. So why are we doing this? You are going to build a whole bunch of skills from all of these areas of your schooling. There's English skills in writing scripts and emails, maths in terms of your budgets, humanities, you're exploring civics and citizenship, which is a core part of humanities in terms of speaking to council, what permits, what rules, what do we need to do to make sure that our event is happening properly and safe. Promoting well-being is a big health focus, so health and PE. And personal and social capabilities, teamwork and time management. There's a whole bunch of curriculum that you're doing here, whether you realize it or not. We've always said the whole way along, applied learning is not different learning. It's the same curriculum. This is still year 10 curriculum. It's just delivered in a different way. So by doing all of these things, you are showing all of these skills. Work hard and show it, and you'll do well, and your report will be glowing. So your checklist across weeks 3 to 6, you need to join your specialist team. Don't forget, you should also have a passion project that you're running alongside that. You're going to, as a whole class, come up with a master project plan. So budget, timeline, make sure that we know what's going on. You need to draft at least 2 professional letters, and you need to also make those phone calls and do those things. You also need to make sure that you are recording not so much a contribution log as it says there, but you will actually be recording your reflections. All right, so through Google Classroom, you've got that live document. Keep adding to that on the way through. So then, again, a reminder of some of the basics of what we're doing. This is quite a broad area, so there's a bunch of things you're going to learn here. But certainly, as a minimum, you're going to identify what you bring to your team. What strengths, what passions do you bring, and how can your interests drive your work? If you enjoy what you're doing, you're more likely to work hard on it. And this project is designed to help you build some of that into what you're doing. And you should be able to identify what makes any team work well. You should be able to identify how we communicate effectively, and you will be problem solving because there's going to be problems, both as an individual and as a team. You'll need to work together to solve them. So you can go back and watch this video at any time to get a review of the instructions. There are written instructions to guide you through for weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they're available on the website as well. We'll also give you hard copies as needed. So make sure you refer to the instructions, refer to this video, ask your teachers for help. They are literally guiding you every step of the way and are there to help you. You're in charge, but don't feel like you're on your own. We will help. We look forward to seeing you make this progress, look forward to helping you every step of the way, and look forward to the final countdown where we actually get our event to happen.